A Sunday and time to get into the garden. Melanie Walker, hello.
Hello.
You said last week, if my memory serves me correctly, and we both we're both moving on in age, so we've got to hold hands and help each other's memories along
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
But you did say something about Linda. Was that her name?
Linda Galvad. Linda Galvad,
Yes,
my
that's right.
partner in crime.
Tomatoes. That's what we were talking about.
If you eat a lot of them, that should actually improve your brain memory. But I
Really?
don't know, COVID fog, age, all of that stuff, I think it might kind of slow it down a
But
little.
I love tomatoes.
I do too, I must
Absolutely
be honest.
gorgeous.
I cannot imagine. When you'd have those things that people say, what kind of food, if there was only one kind of food that you could eat for the rest of your life, would you eat? And of course, it would be Italian. Because I love tomatoes.
Yeah.
What did the Italians do before the adventurers went out and found tomatoes and potatoes and all those things in South America? I wonder what they ate before, because they didn't have garlic. Did they have onions? I don't think they did. They definitely didn't have tomatoes. So what did Italians eat before the voyages of discovery?
They raided the French.
They didn't have tomatoes either.
Melanie, I don't know. This is not history. Okay.
Everything's history, Jeremy.
Linda joins us on the Zoom link that we have. Hello, Linda. Nice to have you on Mansfield today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Okay. Right now, Melanie said I was going to say let's talk about tomatoes. Melanie said no, you could talk about. She said you could throw anything at her. What what
Yes.
is your area of expertise, so that everyone just knows?
We retail heirloom seeds to a commercial base and online in South Africa. Two brands, Frankie Cementi and Linda's Original Seeds. That's a brand I launched last year during COVID. I'm an organic vegetable garden landscaper. I do the garden for the Saxon Hotel and various other foundations. I train organic gardening and I do talks throughout South Africa.
Now, when you say organic gardening, just take us through that for people who don't know. I'm going to ask the stupid questions. Mel will ask the intelligent ones. Okay. How would you classify organic gardening?
Organic gardening is a methodology. So it's using different tools in your garden. I don't mean physically, I mean methods in the gardening, that there's a broad spectrum of methods that you use. And one of the chief things is that you don't include any kind of toxins. It's environmentally sound. You use processes such as companion planting, crop rotation, allowing the plants to actually develop their own immune systems. And in fact, you don't grow vegetables in a sense, you actually grow the soil, because soil is the base for every living thing to be healthy. So when you eat organic vegetables, you're actually eating what you have cultivated in the soil. And that's got a lot to do with the bacteria and microorganisms and nutrient value that you find in your plants all come from the soil. So I would say that kind of encapsulates the whole organic gardening process.
But then so many people will turn around and say, yeah, but anything that grows is organic. So I prefer to go with the term natural gardening these days, which means no, we always use an organic fertilizer and things like that. But you also, what you put into the soil is what you put into yourself. And of course, one of the biggest problems people are dealing with these days with the stress and tension of life is their guts go for a loop. And you've always maintained that your gut is your second brain. And if you can get your gut right, you should be able to get your head right.
Absolutely. So they actually work in very similar ways. So the way the soil and plants that interact is the very same way that animals and plants interact, as well as humans and plants interact. So you definitely are what you eat. And just for example, a couple of things: over 90% of your immune system is created in your gut. Over 85% of your happy hormone called serotonin is created in your gut, not in your brain. and that has everything to do with your gut health. So gut health extrapolated over our physical health, broad spectrum gut health actually determines your entire physical and mental health. Eating well, getting your nutrients from your plants, which in an organic environment you will get a high nutrient density as opposed to an environment where there is pesticides and insecticides, because not only do those limit the nutrient development in the plants, but ingesting chemical fertilizers and pesticides, which are very much in the plant, they exist in the plant, those also kill your gut bacteria that is very important for your health and well-being.
Okay, now last week I was explaining to Jeremy about heirloom seeds and where they came from.
Yeah.
Now, Franchi Cementi are all heirloom, and they're from Italy, obviously, as the name would suggest. Now, Linda's seeds, as seen on TV, because in case you hadn't realized, this is the other lady who, in Gardening 101, would be doing all of the centre bit, all about the organic and natural gardening, okay, on the show on TV. And we are on at the moment, so you can see her if you like her beautiful face. Now, what for those who don't know, what is the difference between an heirloom seed and, say, something that you could just buy at any, like hardware store? Let's put it that way.
So we supply a lot of those hardware stores, but an heirloom seed, the best way to engage with that kind of comment, which is a brilliant comment, people don't actually know the difference, is to compare heirlooms to organic. Organic, as I mentioned before, is a methodology. And when you grow plants in an environment which is not environmentally sound, the plant produces a seed that is either, in some cases, a hybrid. GMOs don't actually produce fertile seed. But with regards to heirloom seed, there are 5 main things about heirloom seed. 1, it's genetic. It's not a methodology. So the plant genetics are broad-based, as opposed to a hybrid where they kind of take out what they don't want, put in what they do want. So they create a bit of a tunnel in terms of the genetics. They smallen that, genetic field, if I can put it that way. Heirlooms are always true to type. What that means is they always look like the parent plants. Very importantly, heirlooms are, it's a very good form of food security because you can harvest your seed and replant them for generations. You can do that. So you will always get a predictable crop. You will always get a predictable fruit, if I can call it that. A lot of vegetables are in fact fruit. And there's a huge variety. There are over 600 varieties of just tomatoes, talking about tomatoes, because they are my favorite as well. And heirlooms provide for that. Just touching back on the genetics, having a broad genetic base means that it cultivates resilience to a lot of pests and diseases. And it allows the plant to have a functionality where it can actually fight those diseases, where a lot of hybrids or genetically modified seed need aid. Like, for example, glyphosate, which is used for accommodating genetically modified crops to grow. You don't need that with heirloom seeds because they have their own resilience, creating a very strong crop. So heirlooms are very, very important. The Americans call it heritage seeds. It's the same seed, it's the same name. In Afrikaans, it's called erfenissaad, and it basically has a heritage built in it on every level. An heirloom, you can pass it down from generation to generation. They are over 100 years old. The variety is normally over 100 years old to be classified as an heirloom. And as I said, there's a great variety that we're exposed to, like carrots. There's about 5 different colors of carrots. It's not the quintessential orange carrot that you've always found in hardware stores or supermarkets.
Linda, this has been fascinating, and I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this particular podcast would like to find out more about it. What sort of sources can you point us to? Have you got a website where you look at these sort of issues and that we can get more information from?
Yes, absolutely, Jeremy. Our website address is www.soughtafterseedlings. That's sought.co.za, and we've got a lot of information on there. The home channel that Melanie and I were on that show together, Gardening 101. There's a lot of those clips on there. People can learn a lot about heirlooms and everything else, organic gardening or natural gardening, as Mel calls it.
Sought after seedlings.
Yeah.
SOUGHT after seedlings.
And I mean, as well as if anybody
Yes.
wants to know, I mean, Linda does go around to people. She does talks, although I know during COVID it's been a bit difficult to do those. But I mean, you can always chat to her, send her a message on the site, and ask about what's the best way of doing this. I think you've got a whole bunch of things there on how to actually make your own compost, and she does all of these things. Handy tips for keeping bugs off your plants. It is a wealth of information.
And I think what we need to do, Linda, if you don't mind, is at some stage we need to tie you in to our medical show and look specifically at gut-related problems with Dr. Vicky Skitter. And call on your expertise from that point of view, because that to me was a fascinating bit that came out of this conversation.
Yeah.
So thank you, Linda. It's been wonderful having
Thank you
on Mansfield today. Thank you, Mel, for introducing me
Okay,
to Linda.
yeah, she's the most beautiful blonde. Why wouldn't I? We want to surround you with gorgeous.
No, you are.
Oh, jeez. Oh, thanks.
Yes. Oh, you're talking to him. Yeah.
Thanks, Linda.
Thanks, Linda, honey. We'll speak to you
Welcome.
soon.
Thanks so
Okay.
much. Okay.
Bye-bye. And thank you, Mel. And we'll do it all again next week.
Indeed, we shall.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
I think we've got a whole lot of questions that have come in that we may need to attend to once again. So
Okay, you'll let me know what they are. And get out into the garden, go and get some sun, some vitamin D, play around. And this is a good time to actually have a look at your garden, see where you've got a space to grow some veggies. Even if you don't have a big garden, you can get pots, get it all ready because you're going to want to after having watched Linda doing all of that stuff. And that includes you.
yes, okay, dear.
All right.
I'll
Yes, ma'am.
consider myself chat on. Melanie Walker, who joins us every Sunday on the Gardening Slot. Thank you, Mel. Bye-bye.
Take
to
care.
all of you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.